With all this talk about me switching from iOS to Android, I neglected to do an actual full review of the Huawei P30 Pro. So this is that review. Welcome back, guys. If you aren't already subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe. It helps us to bring videos like this to you more often. And of course, if you like this video at the end, hit that notification bell to get notified. And of course, that thumbs up always gives us that positive encouragement. So, the Huawei P30 Pro. This is a flagship phone from Huawei, not currently available in the United States, but it is available in Canada and overseas. So if you do happen to import phones or get them from elsewhere and you are in the States, you can get your hands on this phone. So let's talk about the device itself. We'll start with the hardware. It's got a nice OLED display, 6.47 inches. A couple of really cool things on the hardware side is that there's no earpiece. If you look at this phone here, you see there's no noticeable earpiece over there. That's because the sound actually comes out of the actual screen itself. This is technology we've seen in televisions for quite some time. I think Sony had it in their TVs as well. What happens is when you make a phone call, and we'll try to make a phone call right now for you, when you make a phone call, it tells you where to actually place your ear to get the most optimal sound. Well, at least it did the first time. It's not on the top, it's actually on the actual screen itself. The sound is emanating from this area of the screen, which is really cool because it helps eliminate the need for another kind of notch or anything on the top, even though this phone does have a notch for the front-facing camera. So let's start talking about cameras for a second, because this is a place where this phone really does shine. On the front, you've got a 32 megapixel 1080p at 30 frames per second HD camera. This is a selfie camera at 32 megapixels. It's an f2.0 wide lens, so it's great for selfies when you want to get other people in the actual shot itself. So what have we got in the back of this phone? Let's start with the TOF camera. This is a camera that doesn't actually take images. It handles things like depth. This is going to help the AI calculate the blur in the background. Then at the top, we've got a 40 megapixel f1.6 27mm wide angle lens. Next down on the list, we've got a 20 megapixel f2.2 16mm ultra wide lens, and then you've got the 8 megapixel telephoto periscope lens. So what does a periscope lens mean? Well, this means a camera, whereas normally the camera's in the body like this. If you're looking at the sandwich of the device, the camera lenses are like that. Down on this one, they're sideways. So the lenses are actually on the side of the phone, and there's a periscope that reflects the image into those lenses. It allows for the camera system to have a really large amount of lenses, plus a bigger system, without impacting the width or actually the thickness of the actual phone itself. There's a dual LED True Tone flash over here as well. This whole camera system, by the way, was developed with Leica. It's not like they licensed it. Leica actually helped Huawei design the whole camera system. It's something they've been doing for many, many years, and it's something that has graduated into the P30 because this is their next flagship phone. Sound on board of this device is one area which I think is a bit lacking. Because of the in-screen speaker for the actual, phone calls, you only have a mono speaker on the bottom. It features Dolby Atmos sound when you're doing things on Bluetooth. Of course, there's no 3.5mm headphone jack on the bottom of this phone, so you need to use Bluetooth headphones or USB Type-C headphones. By the way, USB Type-C jack on the bottom of the phone. So you've got that mono speaker, and it's funny because jumping off a phone that has the stereo speakers, it's a noticeable difference. And it's not like it's going to be a make it or break it for this phone, but it is a noticeable difference when you're jumping off a phone that has the stereo speakers and suddenly you're only hearing it from one side. It's kind of strange in an off-putting, kind of confusing way. You got all the great bells and whistles, Bluetooth 5.0, every GPS possible. It's got a blazing fast 4G modem. I've tested the speeds and it actually blows my iPhone's internet speeds away, whether it's on Wi-Fi or whether it's on the cellular network. Something I'm still learning about when it comes to Android phones is the version of Android and the themes and the interface and everything, the skin that you want to put on the device itself. Huawei, from what I've been told and from what I understand, has always had a very iOS-influenced theme or influenced skin. This one's called EMUI 9.1, and it's running on Android 9 Pie. There's an octa-core processor on board. There is 256 gigs of storage. This is by far one of the fastest phones I've ever played with. When I compare this, especially compared to my iPhone, and I've got an iPhone 10, which is still a pretty fast phone, the speediness of the menus and just the way things launch and go back and forth when you multitask and you're just switching between apps is extremely noticeable. Maybe the animations are slowing things down on the iPhone, but when it comes to this device here, it definitely does perform perform quite well. In terms of accessing the device, there is facial recognition thanks to that front-facing camera. Not the best in my opinion. I find that it was kind of lacking. It wasn't able to detect when I was wearing sunglasses or wearing glasses. It really had to see the same image that it recorded the first time that you actually got onto this device. The other thing it has is a fingerprint reader under the screen. So this place right here, you put your finger right on there, and it's very, very quick. So in contrast to the facial recognition, the thumbprint is quite quick, and it's right there under the screen and gets you in and out of the phone really fast. Plus, you can set a pin, and of course, all those fun things that you want as well. Video playback was great. Photos were absolutely great. Once you actually took them, you can manipulate them quite well. There's a very cool aperture mode when you're taking pictures that gives you high-end control of the camera, which is very, very neat. And then you can go in afterwards and do things like setting your focus point. All things that I discussed in my switching from iOS to Android video. If you haven't checked that out as well, I'll link to that as well. The battery is something that you really have to experience to truly understand. Now, we did a video when I was talking about some of the reasons that I switched from the iPhone to this Huawei P30 Pro, and the battery is one of those reasons. Because when people shop for smartphones, they do it for a couple of reasons. And the top two reasons when polled were the battery life and the camera. Well, camera system you've got down on this phone, no problem whatsoever. Battery life, a 4200 milliamp battery on the P30 Pro, so that's the larger model, but a 40-watt fast charger. This is a very specialized charger that comes with the device, and thanks to proprietary chips in the device itself, in the charger, and the phone, when you plug this in, it can go from 0 to 60 in under 30 minutes, which is blazingly fast. By the way, I got 0 to 70 in about under 30 minutes, so it's quite impressive. The phone features reverse wireless charging, so there's wireless charging. You can actually put it on a Qi wireless charger. Great, that's awesome. Charges nice and quickly. Or you can actually charge other devices. Very cool party trick if you want to get someone who has any other wireless charging device, an iPhone, sit it on the back of the Huawei P30 and you can actually share your power. This is great if a friend's struggling or, needs a quick charge and there's no power adapter near. You can actually charge their device, which is a pretty cool trick. And let's not forget IP68 rated water and dust proofing. This means 2 meters underwater. You can submerge it for 2 meters underwater for up to 30 minutes and it won't cause damage to the phone. When I was talking to the Huawei reps at the press event about 3 weeks ago, they were telling me how they were in and out of water taking pictures of family with absolutely no issues. Sometimes you might want to let it dry for a bit after you put it in water, but it'll have no problem whatsoever getting back to its normal state. So that is the Huawei P30 Pro, available now only in Canada and overseas. Of course, people in the US, if you want to get one, you can just cross the border and get one unlocked, because all phones in Canada are now mandated to be unlocked, and I think overseas as well. A great phone from Huawei. Check it out. Various pricing depending where you're going. Carriers are offering it for as low as $499, and that includes, if you actually pre-ordered it, a Watch GT, which is Huawei's smartwatch, which is very cool as well. If you haven't been following my series on switching from iOS to Android, I encourage you to check out those videos. I'll link to the first one up here. It shows you my experience about leaving the iOS ecosystem for the Android ecosystem, all on the Huawei P30 Pro. So I talk a lot about the features and why I switched because of this phone itself. It is the Huawei P30 Pro. Thank you to the guys at Huawei for getting us this in our hands, and thank you for watching this video. If you do like it or got any questions whatsoever, please do leave us a comment below. We answer those all the time. And again, if you're not subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified anytime we've got a brand new video to share with you. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next video.